Hi, this video is a part of Data Visualization with Python playlist. In this video, I'll explain drawing of multiple plots in single figure using Matplotlib. This notebook contains different types of visualization, but what we are interested in this video is multiple plots using Matplotlib. So the first step is loading the dataset. We have loaded this Canada dataset where we are interested in finding out the immigration from 1980 to 2013 for different countries. Okay, the first step is to clean the dataset. The main aim of this video is to create these two different plots where we will be creating this line plots, these two line plots where we are interested in finding out the trend of immigration from both India and China from 1980 to 2013. And alongside that, we are also interested in this statistics of this immigration dataset. So for both India and China, and we want to compare that. So for that reason, first of all, we'll extract the data for both India and China, and we'll begin by dropping the unnecessary columns. We'll rename the column odd name to the country, and then we'll set the index of country to be true, and then we'll find out the total number of immigrants for each of the country by summing the data frame along the first axis. So we have added this total column. Once we have done that, then we extract the data for China and India. So we use this log function, and China and India is along row side. These are indexes, and the years contain the list having values from 1980 to 2013, and we take the transpose because we don't want the country to be on the index side or on the row side. Rather, we want countries China and India to be on the column side, and we want these years to be on the rows side. And why do we want that? Let me show you. Because we have to apply this describe function, and inside this describe function we get the statistics for each of the country, China and India, the mean value, the standard deviation, the minimum, the 25%, 50%, 75%, maximum. All the descriptive basic statistics is directly calculated using this describe function. But what it does is it calculates for each of the column. So we want China and India to be on the column side. That's why we took the transpose here. Okay, once we are done with that, let's come to the visualization part. We will begin by plotting the figure. So this is just creating figure. This whole area where we are going to do this plotting is what we call figure. Above this figure, on the top of this figure, we do the plotting. Now we want to create multiple plots. For that reason, once we created the figure, the handle is given to this fig variable, fig variable, and inside this fig variable, this is the handle, and this is basically having this figure. We add the subplot. And how many subplots do we have to add? This is what we will decide in the first place. We want to add two subplots in one row. So that's why we have said we are having two columns and one row. If you wanted these subplots stacked above each other, so it means we want two rows but single column. So then we will be using the value of 2 here and 1 here. So this is just a representation of how many subplots do we want and how do we want to stack them together. Either horizontally or vertically. So depending on that, we give this dimension. This dimension, if you look at it, this is a matrix kind of a notation, a matrix cell kind of a notation, where 1 represents the total number of rows and 2 represents the total number of columns. Once we have this representation, then we want to find out that this subplot that we are adding, it will be added on the first column. This is the first subplot, and this first subplot is actually having this half of the area of this figure. So this first row containing two figures, this information is inside this 1, 2, but the handle for this half of the figure, this first part of this whole figure, will be given to this x0, and the second subplot and the handle for this second subplot will be given to this x1. Okay, then what we will do is we will decide that in the subplot 1 we want to add box plot, and in subplot 2 we want to add line plot. Let's look at the box plot. First of all, we will use this data frame internal function plot, and this plot is basically using the Matplotlib functionality. The kind is a parameter, and it can take different values depending on which kind of plot do we want to draw. So here we are interested in box plots, so that's why the argument is box, and then the color is blue. We want blue box plots, and then vertical is false, so we want horizontal box plots, and we don't want the vertical box plots. Then this is the figure size, which is 20,6. This is a figure inside this base figure. So this is the size of this subplot that we are plotting. This is the size of this box plot, and this is the argument for x's. So this subplot 1 handle is given to this x variable. This is the parameter, and the x0 contains the handle for subplot 1, so that's why we have given this handle. So it means that draw this box plot having all these properties onto this first subplot. Okay, once we have done that, then this handle for first subplot is with this x0 variable. So using this handle, we have set the title and x label and y label. These are simple values that we have added. Okay, the same logic goes for the second subplot, but this time we are interested in finding out this line plot, and we are using this plot function again of this data frame. Now the figure size and the x variable, the whole logic is same. We are adding this title name and the x label and the y label, so this whole logic is same. And finally we are using this show function. Okay, now lastly, this plot function of data frame is interesting for a reason that in this data frame we are having two different columns. So both of these plots contain charts, bar chart, this box plot and this line plot for both of these different columns, and they have added this legend, the blue line for China and this orange line for India. I mean, this is done automatically using this internal plot function. If we had to do it using Matplotlib base pyplot module, this pyplot package, then it might be a kind of a bit tricky, but I'll also explain that in future videos. I hope so it makes sense now.